I love fast cars, exotic cars, supercars, who doesn't? But you know what I love equally as much? Incredible value for the money. What you're looking at right now is a great used electric car that you can get for only $20,000. This is a 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5 and it's one of the best used electric cars you could buy. Sure, you could pick up a used Tesla for about as much as what you'd spend on a high quality mattress, or you could buy this. Thanks to high interest rates, you're really starting to see some great deals out there, and there's just so many options for used electric cars. You have this, you have the Mach-E, you have any number of vehicles to pick from. No longer do you just have to buy a used Tesla. This 2022 Hyundai Ioniq 5 is a really fantastic electric vehicle, and I'll show you why. One of the reasons I really like the Ioniq is because it looks futuristic. It's not so far out there like the Cybertruck where it really makes people love it or hate it. This one, you can see where it's coming from. It's different than your average vehicle, and it's taking one step into the future by looking just different enough. When you're trying to run a marathon, if you've never ran before, you don't go out and run 26 miles. You try 1, 2, 3 miles. You take small steps. The Cybertruck went from 0 to 1,000 miles per hour and completely skipped all the in-between steps. This car represents the next step along the journey. You can completely get used to it and even like it a lot for what it is. This does look like a car from the future with all of these tile-looking things by the headlight and the square shapes. I really like the jagged, angular look of this car, the futuristic styling. Even around the wheel well, you have these streaks to show that it's fast, even though this one's not quite that fast with 225 horsepower. But nonetheless, Hyundai makes a strong effort in making this car look way ahead of its time. Back here, you have lots and lots of squares. Well, maybe it's overdone a bit. And some of this plastic on the body molding didn't need to be there, but from far away, you can't really tell. Hyundai didn't get everything right with the exterior styling, but I give them an A for being different. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and in this case, it doesn't matter if it's pretty or not, at least it looks like something different. For a car of the future, the door handles must pop out. You're greeted with more squares just like you are in the back and the front. Squares on the seat. If there's a theme to this car, it's all about squares. A new Hyundai Ioniq is undoubtedly impressive, but guess what? A used one for $20,000 is 100 times more impressive. This car has 76,000 miles on it and still holding up really well. Interior looks great, quality is great. $20,000 can't ask for much more. Since this is all electric, you have tons and tons of room, so much open space and so much storage. And I like that the center part isn't covered up. It's open and you can access it pretty easily. You can lift up the center armrest and put a Christmas tree here if you want. Big cup holders to fit big water bottles, a place to put your phone and charge it. I like that you have two screens, although the one in the center, I could stand it to be bigger, especially when you have nav on. It's a little laggy and slow, but having a bigger screen would be helpful, although it is $20,000. All of your basics are available, including heated seats. And I do like the fact that the climate control is easily accessible and you don't always have to go through the main menu. I like the mix of on-screen versus easily accessible buttons that you could push. For 20 grand, your passenger will be out of luck. No power buttons for the seat. You have to manually push it backwards or forwards. You have sounds of nature in case you need to relax and meditate. I feel refreshed! And you can play these sounds as you're driving. Right now, I have experienced the universe. This will make you feel like you're floating through space. This lever is deceiving. This one doesn't move. It's just this thing that twists back and forth. You have paddle shifters for regen braking. Obviously not for anything else. You have a useful camera button. There is no learning curve to this car, just get in and drive. Everything is pretty simple and intuitive to understand. Comfortable back seats, roomy, you got your own air vent. It's a nice place to be. This car is roomier, more spacious, and higher quality than you might imagine for only $20,000. Plenty of room in the back, especially with the seats down. This is as practical as they get when it comes to EVs. The sound system in here is really great. Lots of speakers. Your meditation will be extra good. Nice ambient lighting around the speaker as well. This is odd. There is no door handle. just stick your hand in here to close it. So this car only has 225 horsepower, and it might not seem like a lot, and it's really not. But when you have an electric car, you get all that instant torque, and for a daily commuter, for driving around town, this is perfectly fine, especially starting from a stoplight. You don't feel like this car is really underpowered. And if you really want to, you could get the 320 horsepower version, the all-wheel drive. That, I'm sure, is more fun. But I don't think you're gonna buy this car for fun. I think this car for $20,000 is your daily driver, your commuter. So power figures don't really matter all that much. In this car, for drive mode, always keep it in sport. And with regen braking, keep that on as well. You can use the paddle shifter to change it. You can change the modes, which is kind of a cool feature, because if you don't want full regen, you can turn it down a notch, or you can go with no regen, and that just means it acts like a gas car with no slowdown whatsoever. But I would keep it on because you want your battery charged every chance that you get. What I wasn't expecting with this car is the level of comfort you get, the ride quality, and the quietness. It's really like a vault. The insulation is really good. You don't hear anything in terms of wind noise and road noise. It's very impressive. It does have a pretty luxurious feel to it, and with no engine noise, with this whisper quiet electric motor, you turn on some of these sounds in the background and you're in heaven. This car has 76,000 miles on it, but it doesn't feel like it has that much wear and tear at all. There's not much in terms of rattling. It's still very well put together. That just tells you how good the build quality is on this car. $20,000 for this kind of a car. Not only will you be impressed, your passengers, your family, whoever you put in the car will be equally as impressed at the kind of value that you got. Make everyone think that you're driving a car from the future by turning on Experience the Universe. They got almost everything right with this car, and at $20,000, I can't think of deals that are better than this. Even with 76,000 miles, this is still holding up really strong, very few rattles, interior quality is great. And with maintenance, there's hardly gonna be any expenses. This has no oil changes, no engine, no wear and tear. You pay $20,000, you might replace tires, and that will be about it. As long as you can plug this thing in overnight at home, this is such a great commuter car. Obviously, this would not be a good car to get if you have to travel a lot or have to go between cities, because the charging infrastructure is still absolutely pathetic. Not only are there few charging stations, most of them don't even work, they're full, and they're still not that quick. But for daily trips around town, running errands, going to work, this will absolutely fit the bill. And if you're in the market for a used car, this is one of the best EVs you could buy right now.